Right? Because it was about time I did another video. Sooner or friggin' later. Later than sooner, obviously. Anyway, folks, hello. Ignore the smoke. Turn that down so you can actually hear me talk. What we have here in front of us is the Marx Big Bruiser, or, well, pieces of the Marx Big Bruiser tow truck. I've been lucky enough to talk to a man on YouTube, I think Toy King Wonder, I think is his channel name, I'm not real sure, don't quote me on that. Was able to talk to him. He actually has a tutorial where he goes through and gets the mechanics of one of these trucks working again. I think it's a 36 minute video, which I watched and I enjoyed. I've owned a couple of these. Mine were the later versions. This is actually a white cab version, which I think are the earliest. I think the rounded fender white cab versions were the earliest in the 60s that they came out with. Someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong there, but given what I've seen online and what I've been able to find out, I think that's accurate. I think. Starting to see a little bit more of these on eBay, not too many, but a few of them. I still look for them. I've owned a couple of them. I turned one of them into an RC truck. That's on my playlist, or I don't have a playlist, that's on my videos, in case you want to bother looking for that. Or not, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't do these videos to get views, I do them to share the knowledge. You can rebuild these if you really want to. It is kind of tricky getting them apart. All the ones that I have pulled apart, you always start off with the bed first. You've got a series of tabs. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 11 tabs that hold the box on the bed on itself before you can get anything else off. You do have to grind out 2 rivets to get it completely apart to this stage right here. The 2 rivets hold the actual bumper on the front of the body. Let me grab that. What you guys don't see is the 2 tons of shit that's behind this camera. White cap. The 2 rivets go right in here where the front bumper would be. I've got the bumper sitting right there. But you do have to grind out the back sides of these rivets in order to successfully get this cab off. Otherwise you will break it. I think every white cab I've ever seen has that notorious roof dip in it. Every one of them. This one's got a dip right there. It's got one right about here. And it's got one right about here. I'm going to try to see if I can fix that. I'm going to try. But you can rebuild these. I spent the majority of yesterday rebuilding the actual battery box. These are notorious for going bad, going out, just stop working after 50, 60 years of use. You can rebuild these if you're handy with a Dremel tool. I haven't been able to get the light switch part of it to work yet, but I have gotten this to work to where it functions like it's supposed to now. I did have to grind off the rivet, the original rivet that holds that on there. You do have to grind the face of that off to get this apart, but you can run a nut and bolt back in there and put it back together like it's supposed to and make it function like it's supposed to. This one had never been cleaned. It never had anything done to it except played with by a kid. That's what they were for. I took it apart, cleaned all the contacts. The contacts were worn pretty bad. Some of them were, the top one especially. Took it apart, cleaned the contacts, flipped this over, cleaned the actual brass strips that are inside here. I kept the original shoulder washer, whatever you want to call it, the original rivet that rode on. I kept it and used it as a spacer I took off maybe a 1/16 of an inch off the face of it to let that allow it to bring it closer. And it's just got a nut and bolt. I know you can't see in there, but it just has a nut and bolt that holds it together and actually presses the contacts on here for it to make contact now. So it works like it's supposed to. Granted, it's not 100% original anymore, but it went from not working to working. So that's got to be a bonus somehow, some way. Still going to mess with the whole light switch part of it. It is crude by design. It is very crude by design. Still haven't gotten it to send power to the actual light yet. I'm thinking that maybe one of these got water in it, one of the actual little crimp connectors or whatever. I'm not real sure why they even put these in line, since they just crimp two pieces of wire together and these two go up straight to the dome light. Don't ask me why they've got that connection in there, but they do for some strange reason. I'm going to see if I can't cut back prior to that connection and see if it's got juice at least running through the first 2-3 inches of wire. Then I'll know if I can get it to work or not. You do have to take out one rivet. You'll notice that I've got a nut and bolt where it is in the chassis. One side of it slides in through this little slot right here. The other side is held on in place by a rivet. You do have to cut that rivet out if you want to take that box out. There's no other way. You have to cut that rivet. So far I've only had to cut 3 rivets, the 2 that held the front bumper on and the 1 for the battery box. The gearbox transmission doesn't have to come out for anything. I do want to do a little bit more cleaning up on it. It's a lot cleaner than what it was. It looked like a kid drove it through the mud once and then put it up for 40 years. But it's in remarkably good shape. It's in really good shape. The bed is still in tremendously good shape. The railings are still on it. It's still got 90% of the boom. The lights on the boom is broken off. That's typical. But it's still in really good shape given how old it is. The gearbox works exceptionally well given how old it is. It needed to be greased up and have some of the mud cleaned out of it, but it does work now like it's supposed to. I've got the interior tub, got the steering wheel, all that's sitting behind me, all that'll go back in there. It does have the windshield in it, and it's not cracked, which was remarkable, because usually if they do have the windshield stuck in them still, it's only a piece of one. So that was amazing. I'm just really doing this to help him out. He bought it at the toy show that was in Jackson, Tennessee, the weekend before Thanksgiving. He had always wanted one since he had seen the ones that I worked on. He was actually able to get one at a really decent price. He didn't know if it worked or not. All the battery connections, all the terminals were corroded, had to clean all those up. I was actually able to get the light switch out for the light to clean the contacts on it. You do have to remove the little small rivet. I know you guys can't see that, but there's a small rivet that holds all that together. Grind that out, replace it with like a 1.5mm size bolt, and it goes back together. Still doesn't mean that it works, but at least it went back together. Gonna try to be putting this thing back together for this man tonight, and probably Tuesday if I don't get any of it done tonight. Still got the dome on it. It's sitting right over here. The dome, the hook for the boom, the mirrors, the door, the doors for the toolbox and everything. It's still got everything on it. It's in amazingly good shape given what it is. Amazingly good shape. So I'm going to try to do that for him, try to help him out, try to make this thing function. The only thing I've got left is the actual light, and if I can't get power to come out of the box, then it's just not going to work, and I'm just going to proceed to go ahead and put it back together. I've got to get some wires soldered, make sure they've got a good connection before I put the battery box in there for the last time. It will go in there and be a permanent fixture again. The man who owns this does have access to a rivet machine, so if he wants to put it back 100% original, he can. He can actually put rivets back in it if he wanted to. He's also toying with the idea of wanting to make it full RC, which he can do that too. I mean, I've done them before. I can do it again. That's really not a big deal. But we haven't reached that step yet. So just want to try to get it back together, get it functioning, get it working for him, which it does. I've just got to clean it up a little bit more and put it back together. Just really doing this video just to show you guys that you can rebuild these things and make them work again. I know that a lot of people have not, because you have to take it apart, and sure, that probably destroys a little bit of the value, but and this is just my way of thinking, I would think that one that's been tampered with a little bit as far as removing some of the originality, I think it would bring more money if it worked versus one that didn't work. And this one works. The winch works, driveline works, everything works on it like it's supposed to, except for the light. So just wanted to really share that with you guys. It'll go back together fairly easy. I'm probably going to get the interior tub in it back here shortly. You do want to be careful with these tabs. I went ahead and straightened mine out with a pair of dikes just to keep them as straight as possible. Working with these tabs, you really want to only bend them when you have to. Chances are they haven't been unbuilt since the truck was built. And if you go twisting on them too many times, you know what happens with metal fatigue. It's like anything else. You will wind up twisting those tabs off, and then you're going to be in worse shape than what you were before. So I can only thank you guys for watching. Sorry it's been so long since I actually put out some sort of video. Been too busy with life and trying to find a job, and just got fired from my other job on Halloween. That was great. Wasn't really looking forward to that. Of course, I worked for a really evil company, so I'm not really sad to see myself go from that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out some. If you take your time and you're careful with these things, you're dealing with 50 and 60-year-old plastic. If you take your time and you're careful, you can get it apart and get it to where it'll actually function again. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry I had to record this with a really crappy phone. It's the only thing I've got, so it's the only thing I got to work with here. So please hopefully you found this video somewhat informative, I hope. And thank you guys for watching.